To the Chamber of Commerce for giving me the opportunity to speak. I was a little bit worried that I'd be coming back here tomorrow to speak to audience, but I'm very pleased. This is a bit of a sequel. I know that Curtis Ross was here yesterday speaking about the new developments at Thompson Regional Airport, and he alluded to some of the opportunities that we have coming up to us that are more than just the airport. So this is, I guess, a little bit of part two of what Curtis was talking about yesterday. And I get to talk about it today. I'm really excited to share a little bit with you. And I know it's the end of the day and everyone's starting to yawn and people are leaving on me. Come on back, guys. But I promise you I'll be brief. I want some really good pictures and then we'll be able to get on the rest of our day here. So, this is actually a remarkable story. So before we talk about opportunities and all these great things that happen, I think it's really important to acknowledge the past a little bit. Winter weather testing is an industry that was built by passionate Northern Manitobans. It goes well back over 30 years, where I think it was actually Mayor Smook on a phone call. She wasn't there at the time. Somebody wanted to do some testing, and it was Colton Thompson, so she said, hey, sure, bring it up. And really from there, it's been built. The Chamber of Commerce formalized the industry. At one point, Thompson Limited existed through a grant from the city of Thompson to Valley to diversify the economy from the mining industry, and they really accelerated winter weather testing. They brought the glacier test site that's located just south of town and still operating, still standing, still very strong. In addition to that, Ford brought up the winter weather test facility. They had a lot of activity up here for many years. Everything has their ebbs and flows, and it got a little bit of a low spot. And then again, the Thompson Chamber of Commerce reinitiated or revitalized the winter weather testing initiative again in 2019, just before COVID. And the same players were coming on board. You had Community Futures North Central Development, the Communities Economic Development Fund, and Curry's Canada at the time was known as Western Diversification. But again, it was the northern communities coming back saying this is a really important industry, this is a really good thing for Northern Manitoba. And I think one of the biggest things that's happened in the last few years was the Thompson Regional Airport, like Curtis mentioned yesterday, purchased Ford's winter weather testing facilities at the airport, and we rebranded it to Area 55. So that's where we are today, and that's where the rest of my presentation is going to be focusing on. So, a new standard in cold weather testing. This is our new brand, Area 55. So if you're not sure about Area 55, is kind of playing on the Area 51, and the 55 is north of the 50 parallels. And that's where we are. So why Thompson? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. It's because it's cold. But you know what? We probably paid a consultant to tell us that it's cold in Thompson. So it's probably worth putting up the slide, because when we market to companies to talk about, why we come up to Thompson, we have some differentiators that make Thompson a little bit colder, a little bit longer, that we really need to let people know. So, like I said, it's one of those special things about the community that we live in. But what's more importantly about why Thompson is our geographic location, you might find really interesting is the speakers that we have today, quite a few of them had put up slides with a different view, a different frame of reference of how they're viewing the global market. And we're always looking at a map straight on, and you see Bloom, Winnipeg, you see Toronto, you see Montreal, and then there's, Thompson in the middle of nowhere. But when we're looking at this now, it's like, well who's in the middle of nowhere now? Winnipeg, you can't even see them on a map like this. So, but it's significant, because a lot of innovation and technology that's being tested right now in California, where we want to get your Amazon package to you faster, we want to be able to bring a robot to bring you pizza. Well, these technologies, they exist, and they're working really well in the Silicon Valley, but we need that type of technology up here in Northern Manitoba, and not for pizza and Amazon, it's for getting medical supplies to communities. It's being able to get, fresh food over to some communities, because as we talked about today, these are the challenges that we face in Northern Manitoba and in the Arctic, and again with the Northern sovereignty. So I'm going to go from that big global zoom down a little bit closer now to where we are standing at Area 55 at the Thompson Airport. This, I think that we have the slide in Curtis's presentation, but it just kind of gives you a bit of a frame of reference as to where we are. So in the green area, if you flew in here, that's where the airport terminal building is currently, the one that's operating, the one that's sinking into the ground. And just right beside it is the blue area. Now, what's really exciting for Area 55 is next year, when the airport moves over to the new terminal building, is we have a large area that we have available for some future development to expand our winter weather testing facilities. We hired a consulting team that has taken a look at what the facilities that we do have and some of the new opportunities that could be presented to us, which are really exciting, and I'm going to talk about them in my last slide. And it has a lot to do with the open area that we have now. Just another little bit of perspective as to where we are. The little blue area is the area that's reserved for the cold weather testing, and just underneath it right here is where the new airport terminal building is going to be. So there's some pictures now. Area 55, let's see outside. And the small picture beside it is a 38,000 square foot cold chamber. And yeah, even northern Manitoba, you need these things. Climate change. Honda was here in February, and it got to +5 one day. +5 in February in Thompson's not that rare, so that cold chamber came in very handy for them. And a little bit of some indoor pictures. The shop is 19,000 square feet total, so it's a large heated facility. And with amenities such as hoists that can haul large items up to 30,000 pounds. And then we have some comfortable office space. Testers, when they come out, they actually use the runway quite often, and they don't use it at nighttime when there's no planes flying unless it's an emergency. So we want to make sure that we have a comfortable space for them, because sometimes they're there for 14, 15 hours. So it's a beautiful facility. And this is my last slide. This is like the exciting slide, because when I mentioned that we had a consulting company work with us on some of the opportunities that we have to expand our facility, this is what I wanted to share with you. This was already on the go, and we just actually had a formal agreement or announcement just on Wednesday. We're working really closely with the University College of the North. Right now, the winter weather testing facility otherwise was busy during the winter months, but pretty quiet the rest of the time. But now there's a hub of activity there. We have UCN working there right now, putting on some of the trades programs. We actually have an AV program that just started on Tuesday for heavy-duty mechanics. And so there's lots happening right there, and that's going to be such a wonderful partnership that we have with the university. The other one is with NATO, the Diana project. So this is a bit of a new one for us, and we're just working on the MOU right now, which is why we haven't made a formal announcement. But we're in a partnership with 3 other organizations in Ontario and Saskatchewan, and NATO is looking for some test sites for this project, and we were selected to be one of their official test sites. So Area 55, we put Manitoba on the map. We're going to be hopefully making an announcement pretty soon. But I'm allowed to talk about it because the Department of National Defense has already made the announcement of this facilities that they selected, and we are one of them. So that holds a bit of a future for us too, that we're pretty excited to talk about. And some of the other ones that we're taking a look to see what we can do is expanding our amenities, such as permanent test tracks in the facilities that we have available to us once the airport moves. We are one of the founding members of the Canadian Autonomous Vehicle Initiative, and we also are looking at some opportunities to become more of a research and development hub. So, like I said, there's a lot of things happening right now. We've got some really good opportunities on our plate, and we're looking forward to seeing what the future brings for northern Manitoba. We could be housing the next disruptor. We could have a real good stake in some of the things that are happening to make northern Manitoba better, stronger, and has a lot to do with our transportation, supply chains. And that's the end of my presentation. Now, if you really want to see Area 55, Maggie and I are heading back to the airport around 3:30, and we'd be more than happy to take anybody on a tour. Just head on over there. It's a gated facility, but we'll have somebody at the gate to let you in, and we can give that tour firsthand. So thanks very much for sticking around and listening to my presentations. very exciting to talk about. And again, thank you to the council team.